Hi guys, I hope you're well. I'm Hope and today we're going to be doing more gel nails. As always, if you want to do gel nails, please note these safety tips. Don't touch uncured gel with your skin and also do your research into ingredients, lamp compatibility, all of that stuff. I have links for this in the description below. Today's set is going to be inspired by Sakura nails. Here is the mood board that I'm using, and specifically they are inspired by these AI generated images that this Instagram account makes. I could not get these images out of my head, so this is what this video is. Moving on from all of the prep, these are the polishes that I'm going to be using. They are the nudie pink as well as one of the polishes from the Mayo Peach collection and a magnetic gel. I'm also going to be using Aurora chrome flakes, which are, you know, my ride or die. I love them. I'm going to be doing this video a little differently in the sense that I'm going to go through nail by nail rather than, you know, doing all my bases first and then all of the details and kind of going through it batched systematically. So please do definitely let me know whether this is easier to follow or whether you'd prefer me to keep doing it in terms of the other way. So here I am just doing the ombre base for the thumbnail. I usually do, you know, clear and then the color, and then in this case I'm also adding Aurora flakes, and then I'll cure this first layer after blending for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then I'll go in with my second layer. I'm also just doing a third layer here because this specific jelly is so sheer. I'm also going to be using a shimmery gel from the Sailor Moon F Gel collection just to draw on some glittery lines, which, to be honest, you don't really see them in the final nail, but they're there. I'm going in with these Sakura petals, which are a pretty common charm, but I never really use them, so we can use them for this set since the set really is just a Sakura set. And I'm just attaching them with top coat to the base. This isn't really the main focus of this nail because the main focus is the gem that I'm going to be putting on it. Hence, this is just for decoration. Here we have the gems. I am so excited that I finally bought some of these bulky gems, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to use them that much because of how big they are. But just look, this is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous gem. And because they are big, I'm going to be using the fix gel to attach them. I am painting some of the fix gel on the nail first. I don't know if this is necessary because I feel like this would stick with just me dipping the gem into the gel. But I thought because it was so big, I'd rather just make sure it's going to stick first time rather than, you know, risking it slipping around. And then I'm just going to go ahead and flash cure this for like 10 to 20 seconds. And we can add some small pearls, some small charms, you know, just as a nice finishing touch. And then the final top coat, because this is this nail complete. Moving on, we're going to be doing a pretty similar design with the petals. And I'm starting this from the ombre completed since I already showed that for the previous nail. So yeah, please definitely let me know if you would prefer me to keep removing the repetitive steps or keep the whole process for each nail. And especially on the design for this nail is definitely more of a filler nail in the design, if that makes sense. The way that I view it is I want to have some nails that are more simple and some that are more complex, so that when you have your more complex nails, they can stand out more because there is that balance between the simple designs and the more complex designs. And this is this nail pretty much finished. Just gonna be doing a final top coat, and there we go. Now we move on to one of the more like center point nails of this set, which is a 3D Sakura flower. For this, I'm first doing a ombre base, like an Aura ombre base. I'm using this squidgy device that I've been seeing a lot online. But this is the first time that I'm using it, so we'll see how it goes together. I am going in with the same jelly color and just adding a blob of that on and going in with the sponge and dotting it around. But to be honest, I think because the color I'm using is so sheer, you can see it kind of blends out to nothing. So I ended up doing this in multiple layers. I think I did like 4 layers in total, curing in between each for about 10 to 20 seconds to flash cure. And then I just decided I'm gonna go in with a stippling brush because the sponge was not working for this specifically because the gel was too sheer. It was picking up too much of the gel. So I'm really just building this up as I go. And now we can move on to drawing more of the lines with this gel polish, shimmery gel, Sailor Moon polish. And then it's time to go in with Bobolo gel because I am determined to make Bobolo gel work. I'm determined to improve my skills with 3D, even if it causes me a lot of pain when I am working with it. I decided I'm gonna add flakes in this time in order to make it easier to work with, but also to add a really nice shimmery dimension to the 3D that I use, because I've seen online people add chrome powder into it, but then I thought flakes would add a nice sheen as well. I also find that it makes the gel easier to work with if you use cleanser on your brush, so that is what I was wiping it with. And then once I've rolled out my 5 balls of a similar shape, I'm gonna go in and shape each one, add it individually and shape individually. I didn't like how it came out this time, so I'm redoing this. And then once I have shaped it, I will flash cure it. So after I shape each petal, I make sure that I flash cure it for 20 seconds because even though it's 3D gel, and yes, it's more of a solid gel, it does slowly lose its shape and its dimension if you don't flash cure it. So you run the risk of your petals slowly morphing together and morphing out of shape if you don't flash cure them individually. Also for context, I am speeding these clips up by 3, so these are 3 times speed. So you can see how long it takes me to actually perfect these and design these. It takes me so long to work with 3D gel, but I'm just hoping the more practice I get, the better I will get at using it. And I think the flowers on this set actually turned out really, really well, and I'm really excited to just work with it more. And here we are. I'm gonna go in with the same jelly color and just add some color into the center of it. I think this would have looked a lot better if the color that I'm painting with was more opaque, but it's fine. It's, you know, we live and we learn for next time. I'm gonna also add in some details on the background, you know, to mimic that kind of Sakura petal stem idea with the petals and the leaves in the background, just using the heavy liner gel from Ice Gel. I'm also going to go in and top coat individually the base and then also the flower, because as I've mentioned before, Bobolo gel is not non-wipe, so you need to top coat it. It remains very, very sticky even after you cure it. And we can just add on a final little charm for the center of the flower. And this is the final nail. This clip was upside down, hence I have turned it around. The next 2 nails are also creating 3D Sakura flowers, so pretty much the same process, doing my base and then adding any details onto it and then making the flower. I also thought wiping down the nails with gel cleanser would, yes, remove the inhibition layer, but it might make actually adding 3D gel easier because there's not that sticky inhibition layer that the 3D gel might stick to when you're adding it to the nail. I don't know if this is an actual tip, but this is something that I find works really well for me and makes it a lot easier to work with. Also, one thing I want to note for this specific design using the 3D gel is that I thought adding in a base color, you know, drawing that flower on first as your base and then overlaying the 3D gel over the top would give enough contrast. But I think looking back, adding 3D gel onto a really pale background, with this being white and clear, really doesn't help it because it doesn't give enough contrast for the 3D to stand out. I think they kind of blend together a lot when you're looking at them in normal daylight. So looking forwards, I definitely think I'm going to be making 3D flowers on a deeper background in order to really get that dimension from it. So I think that's just something to know if anybody wants to, you know, design nails with a similar concept. And moving on to the next nail, I am going to be using, you know, same ombre stippling kind of technique, using the magnet gel this time. I can say I love this brush so much for stippling. It's my new go-to. And for the magnet, I actually don't want the pearls on this nail, so I'm just gonna, you know, shoot them away, make them go away with the magnet so that we just have the nice, pretty blue color. I'm going to be bringing in more of these petals, but I'm going to do them in pink because I wanted more contrast against the clear white background. To be honest, the pink still looks really translucent, so I don't know if this worked super well, but it is what it is. And I'm going to be doing this as a half and half nail, so I'm going to be adding a really, well, not really small, a smaller 3D flower onto the bottom half, and then doing the petals on the top half. Looking back, I would have probably done this nail differently. I don't like the outcome of it that much, but I think it is fine and it fits the concept. And you know, that is the thing. If you're going to be doing sets where you're experimenting with a lot of different designs or you're trying new techniques, new skills each time, then you're bound to have some nails in your set that you prefer over others. That's completely normal and completely fine. And I think that's the beauty of art as well, you know, having the ability to experiment and grow. I'm just going to wipe down all of the inhibition layer off this nail again, and then go in and shape all of my petals, curing after each one as always. I'm using this tiny brush silicone tool for this, which I thought was a normal size tool, but it turns out it's a tiny one, and I got it from Temu, so I will actually link the listing that I bought for these specific tiny tools in the description box below, in case anybody else wants tiny tools, because they are admittedly very useful and super cute. And yeah, once I have made all of my petals, I'm gonna go in and paint a little bit of the jelly color over the top again, and then, you know, do all the final top coating, curing, etc. that we always have to do when we make nails. We are now done with all of the 3D elements, which is great. I do not understand people that can use 3D on every single nail in their set. We're gonna go in with a gem 3D swirl, crazy top thick kind of vibe. Again, I'm just gonna pile on that Aurora glitter as part of my base and use this brush to stipple it all together. I love this brush. I love it so much. I'm attaching these Aurora gems, which are pretty clear. They're like translucent with a blue shift, and just some ball gems as well. Then we can wipe off our inhibition layer just to make sure everything is nice and clean, and add a top coat, because when it comes to adding crazy top thick swirls, you want to think of this as your accessory, your finishing touch to your nail. It goes on over the top of your final top coat, because it will lose its dimension if you add any polish or any top coat over it. So this is just what I'm doing here. I'm adding these swirls. Pretty simple design once you get the hang of using the swirly technique. I am using a shorter brush here as well to see whether that gives me more control. Here's our nail finished, and then we're going to be doing the same for this nail. So yeah, the verdict is out on whether a shorter brush actually helps with control, or whether it's better to have a longer brush. So if anybody knows, or anybody has any links to resources or any tips on how to improve your technique when it comes to, you know, drawing 3D swirls, please let me know. I'm really trying my best, and I'm definitely improving, but I think it's very hit or miss, especially when it comes to doing the swirls around gems and around charms, because I don't want to accidentally get it on the charm, but I also want to make sure that there is enough gel to blob, you know, to have that nice thick at the beginning and then to smaller. Okay, we are close to finishing this set, boys and girls. And this nail again is more of a filler nail. I'm going in painting just a plain full background, and I'm going in and adding some of the Aurora flakes in. This is designed in a pattern like around the edge and then some lines on it, because I'm going to be going over the Aurora with more crazy top thick gel. And like, can I just say, Crazy Top Thick really is that girl. We all love Crazy Top Thick. It is so beautiful to work with. It's such a nice 3D gel. And then once I have finished the outline, I've cured that, flash cured that, and then I'm drawing one line, and then flash curing this, and then my other line, flash curing that. You know, the same process. Draw, flash cure. And because I was an idiot and didn't top coat this nail, before I did the Crazy Top Thick, I am just going in and painting with a very, very tiny liner brush, just painting the top coat in any of the gaps to make up for my mistake. And here we have this finished nail. The second nail is kind of similar. We're doing Crazy Top Thick again, using the magnetic gel again. Now for the Aurora on this nail, I'm going to be doing it underneath, like the previous nail where I overlaid the Crazy Top Thick on top of the Aurora pattern. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm doing 4 lines and they all kind of curve inwards. And then I'm going to be adding on a silver ball charm to do the Crazy Top Thick into. I tried to add it with top coat and it didn't really work, so I'm sticking it on with, I think this was either fixed gel or Crazy Top Thick directly, just to attach it more, and then wiping this down just to make sure it's all nice and clean before we add the top coat, and then we can go in with the Crazy Top Thick. This is what I mean about my technique when it comes to adding on charms before using Crazy Top Thick. I think I did okay for this nail without overlaying any of the gel onto the ball, but I find it a bit tricky to do that still. So if anybody has any tips, please let me know. And finally, I'm going to be doing this thumbnail which is pretty simple design again. I'm going on from the base since I already showed that right at the beginning of this video, and I did mattify it because I had the intention to use chrome powder for this, but then I actually realized, oh, it's probably going to be a lot easier and a lot more cohesive with the rest of my design if I just use the ice gel to paint these flowers. And personally, I think this came out so much better than it would have if I had done chrome powder, because even though I'm using paint, the ice gel is a thick enough consistency where it still adds a little bit of texture as you're painting. Also, I think because I'm using the needle liner brush from Cocoist, which is a super thin liner, it does help to, you know, add that texture as well. And here is the final petal flower. I think it came out really pretty, and I will admit I was too lazy to add on any charms or gems onto this nail, so this is the finished nail. And here's the final set in comparison with my design. And I'm just gonna cure everything for a final 60 seconds in my big lamp and wipe each nail down independently with a different wipe. Please let me know what you think of the final set, if there's any specific nails that your favorite, or any tips, questions, you know, that sort of thing. Also, please like and subscribe if you like this video. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.